the first speaker that I'm really honored to present is Brandon Heim from the ESOMAR staff, who will tell us more about how ideas came to our minds. And I'm sure you've all seen the beautiful design that we have around at the venue at Congress and the beautiful design that he produced in the past. So I'm sure we will have a lot to learn about creative ideas and how they came to your mind. So please, Brandon, the stage is yours, and let's give him some applause.
Afternoon, everyone. So, being creative is awesome. Being creative is really fun. But is being creative viable? Just think of some creative solutions to bathroom doors. Not everybody likes touching bathroom doors because we can't trust everybody to wash their hands. So one person will look at it and go, okay, well, we need to force everybody to wash their hands. Good luck with the logistics of that. Another person will look at it and say, we need to create automatic opening doors that open when people walk towards it. But these may be expensive, and what happens if something breaks? A third person will look at it and decide to remove doors altogether and just create corners for people to walk around. No one has to touch a door, no one can see in and out, and nobody even realizes that there's no door. Although it is a simple solution, it is still a creative idea that solves a real-world problem, and we can use this in our everyday lives. My name is Brandon Heim, and I'm the creative brand designer at ESOMAR. I like to think of myself as a creative problem solver, because problems can be solved either in the same boring ways that they always are, or they can provide an opportunity to improve on. So before we start, you may have this idea in your head that you aren't or can't be creative, but this isn't true. Creativity is expressed in many different ways, and everybody can be creative. You may look at people that are good at drawing and think, wow, that person is really good at being creative. This isn't true. That person may very well be good at being creative, but this isn't because of their drawing skills. Drawing is just how they express their creativity. So again, you can be creative. Some definitions before we carry on. What is an idea and what is a problem? An idea is a solution to a problem, and a problem is a project that needs to be completed. So, when I talk about project or problem now, I want you to think of it from your perspective. What does a project or problem look like to you in your field of expertise? And how can you use creativity to improve it? So in each exercise that we do, I want you to use either a past project that you've been working on or worked on in the past that you might want to revisit, or something that you're working on at the moment, a DIY project at home, or even a hobby. So although we may not all be designers, we can take a lot of cues from the creative design fields. Design thinking is a process that is mainly used by UI and UX designers in their creative process, and it is as follows. Stage 1, empathize. Stage 2, define. Stage 3, ideate. Stage 4, prototype. And stage 5, to test. The process that we will use today is similar, but can be a little more open-ended. Let me just stop my iPad from falling off. Okay. So our stage 1 is something that we will call critique. Stage 2 is something we will call defining the box. Our ideate stage would be forgetting the box. Our prototype stage would be getting it to fit back inside of the box. And test would be our implementation. Okay, so now as we go on, we're going to do some exercises. If you don't have a past project or a current one that you can use for this, here are some examples that you can maybe choose from. Maybe you have a really rubbish office layout that you think could be improved. Maybe your website is bad. Maybe your local grocery store could be a bit better. So try one of these. So our step 1, critique mode, is where we analyze why things are the way they are currently. For example, our company's visual identity is blue because we want to be seen as reliable and trustworthy. That is a very fair point, but I don't think that there is companies out there that don't want to be seen as reliable and trustworthy. Or I'm going to ESOMAR Congress and I want business cards to connect with people. Also, fair point. But if 40 people gave you a business card, would you remember who was who? How would you keep 40 people's business cards? Is it sustainable, or even is there an app on site that allows you to connect with people? This exercise doesn't mean scrap everything. It's just a way of understanding why things are the way they are, or finding an opportunity to change or improve on something. We are often limited in our brain about always doing what has been done before, so by stripping these things away, we are able to think more clearly. So now I want you to, if you don't have a pen and paper, you can just take notes in your phone, to write down some critiques of your problem. And the idea is to write down as many as possible. It doesn't mean, a critique doesn't mean that it's bad, it's just an opportunity to revisit it maybe. So I will start a timer and then we can all write down our critiques of our problems. Okay.
Can you explain a little longer about what you have to do now, please?
Yes, of course. So if you have a project or a problem, the goal now is to write down critiques. So if your brand or something needs to be revisited, what is currently wrong about it, or what can be improved? So if you are looking at it, it doesn't have to be something that is broken. It could be something that could be looked at a different way. Yeah. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Could you maybe go back to one of your example problems or projects, if you call them?
Yes. Well, I can just tell you them because yeah. Your office layout, revamping a website, or your local, or improving your local grocery store. Yeah. Revamping, so making it better, renewing it, improving on it. For people that have just entered, we are just doing some brainstorming. So if you want to join in, it's welcome. We have about 30 seconds left on this exercise, but you can just write down some critiques that you have of your project that you either are working on currently or have done in the past. Yes, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be a traditional creative field. It could be we are giving a survey and we need to think of better ideas of how we could get it out to people.
And if you take this example of revamping the website,
Mm-hmm.
then the critique would be like it's too expensive, or is that?
It could be that I don't like the layout, it's clunky, all the information isn't there. Yeah. Yeah, what we're missing, what we think could be improved on, pretty much. Okay, so I'll maybe give you 30 more seconds. Oh, sorry. I'll give you a little bit more time then. I'll give you a little bit more time. Okay, so I think we can move on. So our step 2 is, now that we have critiqued ourselves, I hope you aren't too offended by your own critiques, but we can start to look at it from the thinking outside of the box angle. And we've all heard of this statement before, and we'll use it to an extent a bit later, but the reality is that we don't live outside of the box, we live inside of the box. We live in a reality that is bound by physical space, budgets, cultures, limitations of any sort, and even boring people. So my design philosophy is taking it, whatever it may be, out of the box, working on it outside of the box, and then getting it to fit back in the box. But first we need to determine what our box is. And it can be, our box can be different shapes, different sizes, depending on the project or problem, but here's an example. The box is similar to the iron triangle diagram that designers love to post on social media to complain about their clients. It's 3 elements that every client wants. They want it cheap, they want it fast, and they want it high quality. But
I think that's not only in design.
not only design, but designers love complaining about it. So, yes. So, in this case, the box would be 3-sided, but there's so many more things that we can use to determine what our box is. So, for example, is our client boring? Meaning they might not be open to out there ideas. What is the budget? Are there any physical limitations? What is the time? And this can be anything. You can think of it like a scope, but you can be a bit more specific, because I don't think in a scope you generally put something like this person might not be open to creative ideas, or the culture of where this needs to work might be a bit different than normal. And And yeah, that is how you define your box. So we will have 3 minutes now to define your box. Write down anything that your idea in the future that we will be brainstorming now needs to conform to. So we are trying, this is our reality. Okay. We'll start the timer. Yeah. Another example of how you could define your box is when we did a site visit of the hotel. We were doing some brainstorming, and I decided that I wanted to put the podcast in the glass elevators. But the hotel said no. So that is one side of my box, is that the hotel said no. So it can be anything that is restricting your ideas. Okay. Does everybody have a box of some sort? Doesn't have to have many sides. It could have 3 sides like the iron triangle. So now that you have spent time defining your lovely box, we forget about it. This will be an exercise we call what if, or don't say no. The idea is to write down as many ideas as possible within 5 minutes. And the goal is to write it down as soon as it comes into your head, no matter what the idea is. What helps is framing it as a what if sentence. So, what if I did this? What if it was this? Etc. And the don't say no is, no matter how stupid it is, you write it down. This can be very difficult for us because our immediate reaction is to think of viability. It's kind of our way of trying to be more efficient by not saying nonsense. And we might be worried about being judged by ourselves or even other people. But by stopping ourselves at this point, we are cutting off our creativity just as it starts to get going. You'll be really surprised as to what is possible. One stupid or outlandish idea can spark another one, or after some thinking you realize that your stupid idea might not be so stupid after all. One example is coming up with the branding for Congress 2023 with the theme of Supercharged in Amsterdam. All research that I did and every direction that I took ended up feeling a bit like an EDM concert involving lightning, which is a bit cliche. or involving neon lights, which when you combine that with Amsterdam doesn't necessarily give a professional connotation. One of my colleagues randomly suggested making it like a vintage video game, and my first impression was this has absolutely nothing to do with the word supercharge. But I didn't say no, and after some thinking, I was able to make the connection to power-ups that you get in video games. Something that I thought had no viability was able to fit inside that box and became awesome. So now it's your turn to do what if. Don't say no on your ideal project. My advice would be write down as many ideas as possible. Doesn't matter if they're stupid or you think they're not related, just get it down. Go for it.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
So I think the problem you suggested of the website. So you would say like, hey, revamping of the website, but what if? How would you? Because then you can say like, what if we would change the website? That's okay. Yeah.
So so she's asking for the video, what if for a website? So you need to think big and weird. So what if there was no website, sort of thing? What if the menu, instead of at the top, was at the bottom? What if it was on the side? What if there wasn't a header? What would that look like? So you're kind of asking yourselves questions to get out of the framework of what you are normally thinking.
So it's more to steer you in a different direction than that you have to already think about the solution and stuff.
Yes. So what if Congress 2023 was a video game theme? What would that look like? And you don't have to answer the question, what would it be? You just have to present yourself the opportunity. If you need inspiration for this, what is good is to look at your critiques of your problem. So say my critique for something is that it's too expensive, maybe your what if is, what if it was free? Okay, I hope you guys have lots and lots of ideas. Does anybody have more than 10 ideas? You? Anybody more than that? 15? Okay, cool, good. So the next stage is the fitting it back inside of the box stage. This we won't do with your own projects. We will use an example. So we will brainstorm everything all together and something that we've all experienced, which is a research and insights event for 2025. And then from there, you'll be able to see how we get ideas to fit inside of the box. So I'm going to ask for critiques from you about 4 conferences. So anything that you don't like about conferences, don't think work very well, or could even be improved. So I might say that conferences are too expensive. Anybody else have a critique?
It's very difficult to choose.
Difficult to choose. To choose what to...
Choices, like being here or in the other room.
Too
Many options, maybe.
many content options.
I would add to that, very difficult to navigate, to make decisions. And another problem, connections. Very difficult and not that organized on how to essentially connect with a meaning.
Okay, so networking is difficult. I'm running out of space. Networking difficult, and I think you were saying layout of places can be difficult. What happens what if the critique is it's too far? Anybody else?
Not enough information about the content.
I was supposed to have started the timer. There we go.
Can it also be like small things? Like, you know, at conferences usually coffee is pretty lame. It's pretty, like, it sucks. You know, it's just
Yes, absolutely. Bad coffee.
way too long for coffee. Or maybe, yeah, maybe something like that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there are these little things that, you know, that just annoy. Yeah.
Of course, anything that you could critique it doesn't even necessarily mean that it's bad, that we have to change in our hypothetical conference. It could just be something that maybe you think could be done better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes when you're a lot of conferences, you just don't see daylight.
Okay. Too dark / inside. That's a good one. We'll revisit it later. See, we're starting to get the idea of what if.
Being able to completely focus away from your data.
Focus space.
Boring presentations.
Don't take it. No, that's good. That's good. That goes with the theme of.
Been down whether I was allowed to say that.
No, that's good. It goes with the theme of boring clients, boring people, not being willing to open up.
False expectations, maybe, but I think it
Mm?
recently that it was to talk about AI.
Mm?
It was just sponsored by the thing, and there was just the lunch, and nobody spoke about AI. So I need to say somebody else said it as well. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so it needs to be clearer content or more content driven maybe.
Unwanted sales pitches?
To salesy.
Yeah, I think that was the problem in that lunch because it was sponsored by someone and it was like a screen with a person that was going to speak like an hour
Mm.
later.
Okay.
No, I was saying that maybe just like some of them, the word is not simple, but they like focus on the what and not the so what. So it's like a little bit plain.
Okay. I'll put plain and maybe. Does anyone have a better descriptor for that? Slash. Not high level or too high level? Too high. Superficial. I don't even know how to spell superficial. Official. We get the point. We get the point.
That's creative.
On what you just said about superficial, a lot of water missing the why. Maybe we should talk only about why on things.
What? Wait, too much. What? Ah!
Too short presentation.
Yeah, there's some ones of 5 minutes.
Enough. Why? Oh, what is happening? Why? Okay. Cool. Well, my page is full. So we'll then move on.
Just clear schedule because there were some scheduling issues, I think.
Okay. So now we have our critiques. Now we need to define our box. So I will give us 3 minutes. And I'll start us off quickly with conferences need a location and a theme, possibly. We need a schedule. So that means we also need speakers. Local resources. Oh. Researchers or resources?
Source.
A hook.
Money.
Yes, we need to make money. It costs money as well. So that means there's a budget. We have, so with that, there's normally some sponsors. We have, exactly, we need food. So location, we also need a venue. So just because we have a city doesn't mean that we have a spot for it. Accessibility. Someone said something?
Communication. Things that can get communicated.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe something could be super magical, super perfect, but if people in ESOMAR cannot understand it simply,
Communication. So,
Cultural, I guess, is part of the box.
yes, absolutely.
I was thinking, maybe, like not only the schedule, but also when it's happening. If it happens I mean, it needs to happen on a good moment of the year. It can happen on a public holiday or on a,
Timing.
timing. Yeah.
There you go.
some others don't, for example, or some things are
Yes.
good or bad?
Yes, we do have that. It's our program committee. So there's our box. That's our 3 minutes. So we will come back to this after our what if. So now we are going to do our what if. We're going to come up with wacky ideas for conferences. I will go back and forth between our critique slide as well and so that we can see. But I will start us off with what if it was in outer space? You think big? In a park, you could say jungle.
Yeah, or what if it's set up like a music festival or
Yeah, music slash maybe very entertainment heavy. To we could say it was too expensive. What if it was free? Give me. Oh no, I've erased my jungle. Free.
electronic free, no tablets, no PCs, no screens.
Tech free. And I'll do the opposite and I'll say, what if the speakers were AI?
What if we were all avatars?
Yeah, avatars. The blue ones or the tech ones?
Whatever you like.
What if you microdosed it in small bursts and
Small bursts. So instead of, say, 3 days in a row, it was 1 day, a couple of days later, another day.
20 minutes a day. Every time
Short
back and forth to breathe.
over long. Does that make sense? Shorts over long? Oh. You've read my mind.
There was a festival that was all over the world,
Mhm.
and it was screens of every part of the world, but the festival was local.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. So
It's like
it's like that.
multiple locations.
Yep.
Collaborating.
Okay. Cool. So how much time do we have left? Okay. So I'm going to skip us a bit forward because we already have quite a lot to work with here. So I'm going to put. What if it was in a desert? Too hot. So remember when I said something about stage 4, which is getting it to fit back inside of the box? So now we have desert, we have jungle, maybe we can have aquarium, and we have multiple locations. So what if we had, bear with me, this is the world map. Thank you. So we have jungle, we have aquarium, and we have desert. So what if one location of our multiple locations was in Brazil? What if, and we have a desert, so what if another one was in Dubai? You can be in air conditioning in a building. And the only aquarium that I know the name of is in Durban, South Africa, called Shaka. So we have 3 locations, three different time zones. And because we have 3 biomes, maybe it can be all about sustainability. Sustainability insights. Because then it becomes, we had some critiques about the content. So we had some critiques about the info and the content. So if it is a, say, a sustainability conference, you know very clearly that you're going to get content about sustainability. We could also, where did my thing go? We had outer space, and we need a theme. So I don't know how much of you know anything about South African insurance, but there's an insurance company in South Africa called Insurance. So what if the name of the conference was, instead of outer space or insights, it's outsights? It's the outsights event. And then you can give that to a copywriter who's much better with words than me, and they can come up with something like, it's what you take out of your insights, or something like that. Maybe your AI speakers could speak on that, although I think there's some questions on the sustainability of AI. So now you can get to see how we are starting to fit things back inside of our box. So having an idea of an event in a jungle, not viable. In outer space, not viable. Desert, not viable. Multiple locations, it's possible. So now we link these 3 ideas together, or 4 ideas, and you can say, instead of having 3 stages, you have 3 locations, and in these other stations, you are live streaming the content from the other countries. So there you have some ideas for our event. So I hope these exercises help you to be more creative in a more viable way, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Congress. Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon. And I'm looking forward to see what the next design will be for the next events. So if you have any spoiler for 2025, well, we don't spoil it to everybody.